Let's take you now to a different court with the story of the first witness and one of the first alleged rape victims of Nigerian pastor Timothy Omotoso, which is back in court today. Cheryl Zondi will again give her side of the story as the trial resumed in the Gqeberha High Court this morning. In 2018, you'll recall Zondi claimed in court that Omotoso sexually abused her over a period of 2.5 years while she was a member of his church. She testified that she was just 14 years old when the first incident occurred. Omotoso and co-accused are facing 62 charges, which include rape, sexual assault, and human trafficking. Newzroom Afrika's Siphosethu Booi joins us live from the court now. Siphosethu, a very good afternoon to you. Of course, give us a brief breakdown of what has transpired in court with Cheryl Zondi retelling her really traumatic story.
Well, Mpho, you remember that I did mention the fact that Vuyokazi Nonhlanzi was still giving her testimony, or rather was being cross-examined by the defense lawyer Peter Doberman. So we're still under those cross-examinations by the defense lawyer. Cheryl Zondi, however, has not taken to the dock, but we have seen her. She is here, and she'll also be retelling rather her trauma of what happened to her back in 2018. And you will also remember that Cheryl, as well as Vuyokazi Nonhlanzi, the current witness that has taken to the dock giving her testimony currently, sang in the same church group, in the church of Timothy Omotoso, called the Galaxy group. That's where these crusades would then happen, and they'd be performing at the church. And like I mentioned, that Vuyokazi Nonhlanzi did mention the fact that the very first sexual offense took place in a crusade in Bloemfontein, and after that another one happened in Israel as well as in Nigeria. But Peter Doberman also just mentioning the fact that if whether or not the statement that she gave, Vuyokazi Nonhlanzi, that is, was read out to her after she had signed the testimony, after giving the statement to the captain, she's saying that no, she was not read out that particular statement that she gave to the captain. I see that Peter Doberman also just trying to poke holes in the current evidence that has been given by this current state witness. He's surely going to be wrapping up right now, and then shortly after that, Cheryl Zondi will then be given the opportunity to retell the trauma that happened to her back in 2018 here at the Gqeberha High Court. So far, we're just wrapping up the cross-examination of the 33-year-old who was 17 at the time and was introduced to the church by her stepmother, also making mention of the fact that her own mother was also a member of this particular church, but when she joined the church and started singing in the group, she had came into the church as a member on her own accord. So these particular matters were happening, or rather these offences were happening, and she was very scared to come out and say that she wasn't comfortable with what Pastor Timothy Omotoso was allegedly doing to her, saying that she was afraid of the powers that he had, because this was a man who would say things were going to happen and they suddenly happened. So a sense of fear came to her every time she would be summoned by Timothy Omotoso, who she had to greet by kneeling down as per the church customs, saying that that's just how things were done in the church. And furthermore, the defense lawyer asking her why she had not run away, because Pastor Timothy Omotoso didn't try to threaten her life in any way, and she just said that she was afraid of what he would say to her, because he did make mention of the fact that her life would never be the same again if she walked away from Timothy Omotoso or did anything stupid in terms of those regards, even saying that she was afraid of resisting him because of what she has seen in the church, and believing that Pastor Timothy Omotoso had supernatural powers of turning things and also saying things that would actually happen. So those current testimonies and that cross-examination is now currently happening here at the Gqeberha High Court, and we are expecting Cheryl Zondi to take to the dock and also retell her experience. You remember that that particular trial previously, where she gave testimony to the court, has been labelled null and void because of the new presiding judge over this trial of televangelist Timothy Omotoso here at the Gqeberha High Court, with his co-accused Lusanda Sulani as well as Zukiswa Sitompo.
Well, thank you so much, Siphosethu Booi, giving us an update and a breakdown of what's still to come in the Timothy Omotoso trial.